Good afternoon. It's Bill, the knee pain guru. Today is, Thursday, August 19th, 2021. We are going to talk today about knee pain. What does full range of motion mean? What does it mean? And there's a little bit of discrepancy. There's lots of nuance to it that we're going to nuance into what full range of motion means. We got a question in from Graham that we're going to dig into in just a second. And a lot of times it's a misnomer. And we're going to talk about it today, but let me dig into the question first. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the Knee Pain Guru YouTube channel. Turn on notifications for future videos. So Graham writes, "Hi Bill, a question for your next video perhaps. You often refer to full range of motion in your videos. What is meant by this exactly?" And it's a great point, because there is a difference between full range of motion, which is often equated to the anatomical range of motion. That is the knee fully being able to extend, fully being able to bend. And there is something in knee club, or when I work with clients, we're working on not only recognizing the anatomical range of motion, the full range of motion, but also the comfortable range of motion. And I'm going to dig into that in just a moment, but I want to keep reading what Graham writes. "I think I have full range of motion in both knees. I can extend them both fully and flex them both fully. I can also kneel on them without issue and manually put pressure on my kneecaps without an issue. I can easily do squats, lunges, and I can walk fine. I can do steady distance running fine. So to most people, my knee pain goes unnoticed. However, the pain I experience in my right knee has still significantly changed my life and is depressing. I can no longer play the sports I love, such as team sports, football, and racket sports. My right knee only really causes me issues when it is exerting force. If I crouch down on my right leg or I accelerate to jump when running. I also sometimes feel it day to day when leaning over my right knee when bent. I also feel it a little when climbing up and down stairs. So although I'd say I have full range of motion, I still get pain when using the muscles in my right leg while it's in a bent position. Would you say your knee club program is still suitable for me? Even though I already have full range of motion in both knees. Many thanks." So we have the anatomical range of motion of the leg, of the knee. So when it's fully extended, it'll be at 0. When it's fully bent, it's going to be 140, 155 degrees, somewhere around in there. And depending on what's going on with the knee, like some people that have bone spurs or they have a bone on bone, the anatomical range of motion, you can't get there because the bones are in the way. The way the bone has deformed, you have issues with it. So you may have full extension being here and full flexion being something like that, depending on who it is, what's going on. So the comfortable range of motion is contained within the anatomical range of motion. So with Graham, we have a comfortable range of motion that lies within the anatomical range of motion. So what we want to do is understand where his comfortable range of motion is and begin working within that. Because when the knee is comfortable and we begin to change the neurological signaling, the comfortable range of motion begins to expand to that of the anatomical range of motion. So if this makes sense, give the video a thumbs up. Yeah, I mean, this is important because it makes a distinction between full range of motion. So we have to understand that the comfortable range of motion is going to be within the anatomical range of motion. So you're moving the knee from fully flexed to fully extended, and somewhere in there, the pain is going to be, you're going to have nerve irritation. The neurological signaling is messed up from accident, injury, surgery, trauma. Something that's happened to the knee that's caused the knee to tense up to protect itself, that inhibits the anatomical range of motion and shrinks the comfortable range of motion. This is really good stuff in order to understand your path out of pain. There's clients that I've worked with that there will be patterns within the knee joint that will change throughout the flexion and extension of the knee. The location of the pain will change based on the angle of the knee. This is what we need to look at and explore and give you specific pain pattern interrupts that will change the neurological signaling in that spot of the knee. There is also not only the angle of the knee, whether the leg is extended or bent, that the pain can be experienced, but also what's going on, like Graham was saying, going upstairs or downstairs. If he's jumping, if he's moving sliding to the right or sliding to the left as if playing tennis or racquetball or something like that, you have different movements that will engage different tension patterns at the knee at different angles that can cause pain. This is what we need to be exploring and in dialogue on that will allow us to specific pain pattern interrupts to relieve the pain in that area of the knee and change the neurological signaling. So when you move in those directions, the nerves aren't going to be irritated. It's not going to bother you. So this is the process. And it's so interesting because the big questions that I ask, and it doesn't matter what the diagnosis is, it boils down to pain or range of motion that people are challenged with in their knees. All the other stuff is a little bit of white noise. It distracts from the issue. And I'll talk about pain or range of motion, and then people will be like, but I have osteoarthritis. Okay, pain or range of motion. Oh, but I have bone on bone. Okay, is it pain or range of motion? But I have chondromalacia. Okay, pain or range of motion. Is it patellofemoral pain? Patellotendinitis? And they'll go down the laundry list to think that their knee is like an exception to the knee club program. And that's just not true. When we look at the source of whatever experience you're having in the knee, no matter what your diagnosis is, we look to change the neurological signaling in a way to change that neurological signaling to relax the knee so the comfortable range of motion increases. Like, this is next level work. It's important to understand this, that when you talk about principles, it doesn't matter what the pain is. And then you have those that'll be like, but my knee, it's not pain. It aches. And then you'll say, okay, this will address the ache in your knee. And they'll be like, no. Sometimes it hurts. Okay, got it. It hurts. Still neurological signaling that is giving you this experience. Oh, my knee's just tight. Okay, it's still neurological signaling. No, mine burns. Okay, neurological signaling. So you can begin to see how the terminology distracts from addressing the source of the pain, nerve irritation. Nerve irritation does one of two things: causes some sort of discomfort, some sort of experience you don't want, and it begins to limit range of motion. Even though Graham has full anatomical range of motion, it's not a comfortable range of motion. So we come from principles. Like, it doesn't matter what plant is on the planet, it needs water. Different degrees, different amounts, still needs water, still needs minerals. It still needs some sort of food, either sunlight or fertilizer or something like that for it to grow. Now, depending on if it's a tree, it's a bush, it's a flower, it's going to need different amounts in different timing. And that's what we're looking at. That's what we look at in Knee Club for your knee. What's going on with your knee? How can we begin to change the neurological signaling to create comfort, to relieve whatever your experience is, so you have a different experience? And then we interpret that experience to support the conditions in your body for your body to heal your knee. Water, nutrition, breathing, mindset, stretching, mobility, exercise. All of that goes in the right ingredients in the right amounts in the right order with the right timing. So on the other end of that, you're playing racquetball, you're running the way you want, you're going upstairs and downstairs, you're squatting down without that difficult neurological experience. If that's making sense, give the video a thumbs up. Like and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with your friends, family, and loved ones that are limping. If you want to know more information, you can head on over to my website. By the way, all of this is in the description box below. The Knee Pain Guru. You can go there. You can sign up for a consultation. I have the Knee Pain Guru /APPT to sign up for an appointment. And then the program that I'm talking about specifically to Graham is around my Knee Club, my group coaching program. And this is where we work to figure out, like, what do you need to do? What does Graham need to do? And based on what I would do with Graham is ask him, he's saying it's his right knee when bent, then I would have him look at, well, what's the angle? And begin working with the quick start guide, which everyone needs to do as soon as they sign up. They begin working with the quick start guide. The quick start guide starts changing the neurological signaling. And then when we meet on our calls, Mondays or Thursdays, which, by the way, we are hour and about 45 minutes from when hour and 15 minutes from starting the Thursday Knee Club call. And that's where you show up. You tell me what's going on with your knee, how it's doing. And then I give specific videos for homework. You work on those. Those are going to start changing the neurological signaling and give you relief. And on the next call, Monday or Thursday, you meet on that. And we pick up where it was the last time. And you tell me what's changed. If you can't make the call, you type in your question. You type in what you got going on, what your results were. And then we pivot based on your results. Did the pain move? Did the pain change? Did the pain get worse? Did the pain get better? None of the feedback is bad, because if the pain gets worse, it begins to rule out what doesn't work. We don't judge the results. The results are there to give us feedback, and it gives you an idea of what the parameters are. Well, if I drink more than 1 cup of coffee in the morning, it makes my knees worse. Got it. Then let's just stick to one. Let's just stick to 1 cup of coffee. Increase the water intake. That pain pattern interrupt worked for a period of time, but that the pain came back. That means something else. Your pain goes away for a period of time, and then you do certain activity, and then the pain returns. Okay, well, let's figure out a strategy, what you can do either before, during, and or after that activity so you recover faster? What can you do the moment you get home that will set up your body's ability to heal it faster, so it gets to feel better? Because the less pain you're in, it promotes the neurological state that allows your body to heal faster. If this makes sense, give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for future videos. If you have questions, enter those in the comments section. I'm happy to answer those. We got some people here from Facebook as well as YouTube. And like I said, there's options for you to take action. That's a big thing. It's great to have this information. It's great for you to know I'm here as a resource. However, utilizing it is going to make the difference in your knees. There's plenty of people that I've seen. A lot of people like suffering. A lot of people like the pain that they're in. It's unconscious. They like the attention that they get. Okay, like Graham is actually here. It makes sense to me, Bill, and I can relate. It's all new to me, and it's something I've never tried before. I look forward to starting Knee Club with you next week. Awesome, Graham. It's cool. And the process, Graham, the process that you're going through is why I do these videos. Because we have to get in a different mindset and use different languaging and technology to know what to look for. Like this isn't physical therapy. This isn't physiotherapy. You're not going to get in there, and I'm not going to give you leg extensions, leg curls, and leg raises like if you went to the physical therapist. It doesn't make sense. It didn't work for me after I blew out my knee. It's not going to work for you either. Your situation is unique, different than anyone else's in the world. Yet, in some respects, your situation isn't unique. And I know that sounds contradictory. The source of your knee pain is the nerve irritation, and that's what we need to address. Well, we can't address the source of the nerve irritation using the same approach with everybody across the board. We have to recognize that even though your diagnosis is different, your knee pain is different, the location of your knee pain, we need to give you specific tools to use in a specific area of your knee to relieve the pain that you're feeling. There may be a rotation going on in the relationship of the bone in your upper leg and the bones in your lower leg. There may be a slight forward or back shift in what's going on in the relationship of the bones, or a tilting, or an apart and together. I mean, we don't know, but we use comfort as our guide to move you out of pain. So these videos are here to begin to get you looking at your knees in a different way, to see how woefully inadequate the Western medical model is at getting you out of pain once they've addressed what's broken or torn. Like, they're great. Something's broken or torn in your knee, you can get it fixed. You go to physical therapy to strengthen the knee, and that may or may not work. It's a little iffy. But if you want the knee to feel normal again, if you want to have the full range of motion in the knee again, you can't go to a doctor's diagnosis and an insurance code and go, oh, that one is going to get you to feel normal again. It is not how your body works. When I dislocated my left knee 4 times, there's a lot of emotion that goes into that. Emotion meaning like the literal screams that I had because of how painful it was when I tore the ligament, when I tore the meniscus, the fear I had going into surgery. It was terrifying for me. So now you have these elements of our body that you can't see on an X-ray, a CT scan, or an MRI. It's just not going to show up. The fear I have of having surgery is not going to show up there. The trauma that my knee went through because I dislocated it 4 times, because I had fear about going to the doctor, it plays a role in your experience of your knee. And this has to be taken into consideration. We don't have to dwell on it. We don't have to know why. But understand that there's emotion that comes back when you can't stand like a man, or you can't squat down and play on the ground with your kids. That's emotional. Or you have a partner and you can't bend your knee to be close to them. Use euphemism there. But the point of it is, when we can't do these things because the knee is in pain, we can't be normal. We can't feel normal. We can't feel like a normal human, a normal man, normal woman. So these have to be taken into consideration. These elements of us need to be taken into consideration. And just doing leg curls, leg raises, leg extensions is not going to do it. You see, it's much more nuanced. It's much more in depth. And we need to know when we need to create comfort to relieve the pain and increase the range of motion, and when we need to back off on that. There's sometimes we need to exercise and not stretch. There's sometimes we need to stretch and not exercise. There's sometimes we need to do mobility in conjunction with pain pattern interrupts to see how these tension patterns that developed in the knee are affecting the hips, the lower back, the ankles, the feet, the hamstrings, the quads. It all plays a role, because when you play team sports, or you go lift at the gym, or you play racquetball, you don't use just part of your body. You can't just isolate it. Here we go. World evolution. Do you think, let me see this questions here. Do you think there has to be an element of pain when going through rehab after surgery? Yes and no. I think there's an element of discomfort that we can experience. And I interviewed, I do a podcast through a nonprofit that I'm involved in. And a physical therapist that I interviewed really said it best. If your pain level gets above a 3 or a 4 when you're doing physical therapy, then it's too much. You got to back off. So I think there's an element of pain, but we have to understand when the pain gets beyond a certain threshold, we're actually slowing down our recovery process. We need to keep the pain in check. And that's why the pain pattern interrupts that we utilize, that's a cornerstone of the program, is what we use whenever we do any sort of exercise, stretching, or mobility, or you're living your life and you cause pain. The pain pattern interrupts are there to bring your pain down to a manageable level so your body can recover faster. And this is where I think physical therapy jumps the shark, is because it's all about pushing through the pain. Or at least there's many physical therapists out there that are about pushing through the pain. And if the sole focus is pushing through the pain, after a while the body goes, I'm tapping out. I'm not going to keep this up. I'm going to hurt so bad you're not going to want to go. I've had people reach out to me and they got to take prescription drugs. Like, they got to take their prescription meds just to go to physical therapy. That's not right. I mean, it's like at some point you got to go scratch your head and go, oh, come on. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be an intelligent, more high leverage way to recover rather than just self-abuse. And this is where we begin to have different conversations about distinctions and nuances around what is pain and what is recovery, and how does pain fit into recovery. So that's a really great question there, world. If you like the information, give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications for future videos. Let's see. Any more questions? No more questions that have popped in here. I appreciate you asking the questions. Let's see. Thank you. I'm convinced my knee pain is due to quadricep atrophy following surgery. Okay. There's a little bit of raising the bridge and over the river and lowering the river that we need to understand. A lot of time, the quad will atrophy because there's another set of muscles. They call them antagonistic muscles that will tighten up. So let's use quads and hamstrings as an oversimplification of what may be going on. So when something gets too tight, something else has to shut off and not be able to engage. So when you have knee pain and the body is protecting the knee, the hip on the same side will shift back. The hamstring will tighten up. The tension in the hips will shift to the other leg. And that pattern will be displayed to protect the knee that hurts. Well, that shuts off the quad. So you can go and exercise the quad all you want, but you're fighting the neurological tension pattern that is underneath what is contributing to the atrophying from the quad and the pain in the knee. So we have to look at releasing those neurological tension patterns in the knee that hurts, in the hamstring, in the same leg that hurts. Look at addressing the tension in the hips and lower back as well, so we can bring balance to the body. So now the quad's engaging naturally the way it wants to, because it's not fighting the tension pattern that the body developed to protect it from the pain it experienced to begin with. Now, we could go into more questions around, well, did you have surgery on that knee? Is that why the quadricep atrophied? There's layers to the knee pain game. We need to ask more questions, and that's why the group coaching, and that's why we can talk about what's going on and get a bigger picture, so I can draw on the past two plus decades of experience, my own knee situation, thousands of clients that I've worked with, in asking these questions and seeing how these patterns are showing up in your knee, in all these areas in your body. Because the knee pain doesn't affect just the knee. It affects from the toes all the way up to the head. So that makes sense. If it makes sense, give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel. Share the video with your friends, family, and loved ones. I'm going to wrap it up here. I got a video I'll play for you, and you can check that out. If you have other questions, you're watching the replay, you can. Let's see. Bill, have you ever gone back doing whatever it was you were doing which caused your four knee dislocations? Yes. I went back to judo. I dislocated it skiing, judo, volleyball, softball. I did a lot of soul searching afterwards because I really didn't care about skiing, volleyball, or softball. Like, I just didn't care. Judo was a thing that I loved to do. So I did get back and do judo, and I did it for another 5 or 6 years. And then it got to a place where it was like I didn't get the enjoyment out of it. I was evolving as a person. Like my path changed. So although the judo was fun and I love throwing people, and it's really great, it got to be other things took precedence in my life, and judo started fading into the background. I didn't like how I felt after practice. I started training another style of martial arts called Sistema. It's a Russian style, and that had more resonance with me in terms of my personal evolution. There was a huge healing component, and focused on breathing, movement, and relaxation, which I used in the NEAT Club program, or still use in the NEAT Club program, which focuses on the strengthening of the tendons, ligaments, and fascia in the joints. So there's an element of strengthening parts of the structure that normally is overlooked when we focus on muscular strength, like when we go to the gym and we do bench press, squats, and deadlifts. It creates tension in the body that's actually is not as advantageous to the joints. So anyhow, I went back to judo. I really didn't care about the skiing, judo, and volleyball, and softball. So yes, now I mean, my daughter's 8, so we play a lot, and I do a lot of permaculture and gardening and get in the woods and do stuff like that. So I find more enjoyment in that now at this time in my life. One of the things that's been on my radar is to get back into running again. It's something I did training for judo, and that's something I'd like to get into, but that requires running shoes. And I live in the country, so it's a little different in terms of finding places that I like to run. Okay, morning, Lori. I have lots of pain and knots and hamstrings of leg. I just had knee replaced 6 weeks ago. I'm doing PT 2 times per week and exercise daily. Any additional ideas? Yes. Watch this video again. Once I render it, watching the video again is going to be really helpful, because I talked a lot about anatomical range of motion and comfortable range of motion, and changing the neurological signaling in the knee and in the leg. It's going to make a big difference for you. We have a couple of people who have had their knees replaced in Knee Club that are getting some great results, because the focus doesn't need to be so much on the knee, because, well, the knee's not really there anymore. They've cut off the bones in the leg and replaced it with plastic and metal. So you're not feeling the pain where it used to be. It's going to be in other areas around the knee, primarily from where they cut the bones off. But we also have to look at the compensatory tension patterns that are going on in the hips and lower back and other parts of your body as a result of you not feeling the pain in the knee. Just because they fix the knee with the knee replacement doesn't mean the tension patterns aren't gone in the rest of the body. And this is where people have there's a misconception that just because I got the knee replaced, my life's going to go back to normal. One, the knee doesn't fully flex the way it used to. You'll never get your heel to your butt, especially after a knee replacement surgery. So there's that. And then it's important to understand that these tension patterns that are no longer going to the knee, they still are going to the knee, but there's other parts of the body that compensate. I had a friend who's a general practitioner, doctor in Southern Indiana, and she had both of her knees replaced, because it was like, okay, I'm going to go get both of my knees replaced. And she got both of her knees replaced, and within 5 years, she was in there getting both of her hips replaced. So now she got both of her knees replaced and both of her hips replaced. And And it's because now the tension wasn't going into the knees, the hips. The pain wasn't there in the knees anymore, so now the hips were taking the brunt of it. So the hips wore away. Got the hips replaced. And the last time I talked to her, which was several years ago, she was getting her shoulders replaced. Because now what was happening? The knees weren't feeling it, the hips weren't feeling it, so she had to work on compensating for not the fear of falling with her arms. So she had to use her arms more, which wore away her shoulders. So that's the playbook. That's the playbook for the conventional medical model. So my suggestion is to you is to up your game, to begin looking at these other tension patterns in other parts of your body. Now, I understand that way of looking at the body is not for everybody. Most people would be like, I just went through the knee replacement. I've had enough. I'm just going to get through physical therapy and get back to my life as like normal. Well, I'll be the one to break the news to you. It's not that easy. You can ignore it, but it's still going to be there, and it knocks louder and louder each time until you start beginning to look at these patterns that are going on in your body that have been there for a very long time. So, anyhow, okay, there you go. Morning, Lori. Here's another question is for Norte Sur. Which is the worst activity to your knees, running or cycling? It depends on what causes pain, because we have different tension patterns. We have different tension patterns based on what's going on in our body. If you sit a lot for work, or you stand a lot for work, or you walk a lot for work, the tension patterns are going to be different. So based on those tension patterns that are going on in your body all the time, it's going to determine whether running or cycling is going to be better or worse for your knee. And depending on what you want to do you like running more than cycling? Do you like cycling more than running? We need to look at what you want. Anyhow, it's going to depend. And that's where this is part of these videos, is getting you to look at what's going on in your body differently. Looking at what's going on in your body in a way that it sets it up for success. Because no matter what you do, you have to have your mindset to look for these things that are going to benefit you the most. A follower from Colombia, South America. Awesome. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see. Morning, Lori. I know these are old patterns that need to be addressed so I can break the cycle. Thank you for your answer. I will look into your group. You're welcome. Yeah, okay, this is what I tell the members of Knee Club. And won't lie to you. Sometimes you need a drill sergeant. It's like sometimes you need me to okay, come on. You got to do this. Sometimes you need a cheerleader. And I kind of feel or sense into that when I'm talking with you for exactly what you need. And I will be there to support you till the cows come home. Like, I'm there for whatever you need to get your knees in a place so you're improving. And I'll talk and explain. If you're in the mind frame of being open that your body has the infinite capacity to heal itself, then I'll be there to explain it as long as you need me to. So know that. And I won't tell you something that I don't know to be true. Like, I just won't. Be like, okay, here's what we need to do. Here's a strategy. But you ultimately have to do the work. You ultimately have to show up between the calls and put in the time. And I'm not talking about a lot of time. Graham asked the same question the other week. Like, how much time is it going to take? And I don't see the program being separate from your life. Like everything I share in the program is what I do continually on a daily basis, even today. Maybe not necessarily for my knees because my knees don't bother me, but for other parts, hips, lower back, neck. I sleep wrong. My neck's all whatever's going on with my neck. These are the same principles. The water, the nutrition, the breathing, the mindset, the stretching, the mobility, the exercise. I think I said supplementation. It's going to be different for each person at different points in time. And that's what I will show up and say, hey, Lori, this is what you need to do. Work with this. You got to try this. Let's see what happens. It's either going to open a door. What I'm going to share with you is either going to open a door and give us a better understanding of these patterns, or they're going to limit an option, which is good. Limited option equates to it caused you pain and we need to pivot. We need to do something different. But until we try it, we don't know. So, anyhow, that's what we got. But great. That's great stuff. So you show up with a mindset like that, I'll be able to help you. No doubt about it. And I don't care what you got going on. We've had people with all sorts of injuries, like really, really extensive. I think the person that I had the most trauma, you'd call it, had seven knee surgeries. And we got him out of pain. So it's not so much what has happened. It's more of the mindset really than anything else. And it's also fair. Like I do these to kind of vet and filter so we can make the most benefit in the program, because it's not for everybody. A lot of people want the drug, the shot, the surgery, the physical therapy and be done with it. And if that's how your body was meant to work, well, then it would have worked already. And you wouldn't be here watching this video. So, by the way, give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends, family, and loved ones. Give it a shot. All the information I'm talking about here to take action, you can go down below this in the description box. I got links to sign up for the newsletter, to schedule a consultation if you want, as well as sign up for Knee Club. And I got private coaching too, if that's something that resonates with you or whatever that is. And I could share that with you on a consultation if that's something that you would be interested in. Okay, I'm going to play a video for you just to wrap this up here. I thank you, Graham, World, Morning, Lori, Norte, Sewer, for all your questions and participation. That's great. Really appreciate that. The next Knee Club, we're going to be starting in about 45 minutes. So if you do choose to sign up between now and 45 minutes from now, please send the link to get into the private Facebook group so I can get you in there and all that stuff for the call this evening. I will know then. Okay, here, let me play this video, and I thank you all so much. I will see you on the next video.